It is a couple of hours before Shabbat here in Jerusalem, and it's a very special Shabbat. Some of you know, some of you may not know. It's called Shabbat Chazon or Shabbat Chazon, which basically means the Shabbat of a vision. We're taught that on this Shabbat, from tonight before sunset until tomorrow night, about an hour after sunset, our souls are shown a vision directly from God of the future temple, the third temple that will be rebuilt in our times. That is a portal between heaven and earth that will bring peace to the entire universe, peace, oneness, connection, healing. And our souls are getting ready to experience that vision. What's the power of a vision? The vision is connected to in a core level to the soul. So I want to just stop for a second and ask you, in the midst of this turbulent time, what is your vision? What's your vision for the world? Like, I just want to invite you to imagine for a second. You can close your eyes if you want to. If you knew that all of this is for a reason, everything that's happening is part of a divine purpose, and not a divine purpose that we'll never understand. I think we're moving into the era where we're done with that never understanding thing, but a divine purpose that's going to be revealed through our connection with that purpose, which is hidden within the events. So if you would assume that, if you would just allow for that, the first question I want to ask you is, what is your vision for the future? What is your chazon? Your specific version, your specific flavor, your specific passion, your specific yearning for your life, for your loved ones, and for the world. So I'll just be quiet for a second while you think of that. And if you feel like sharing it in the comments, I think that would be awesome. When we bring things down into words, it already starts to manifest the vision. Words are so important. Vision is so important. Like Einstein said, imagination is a preview of coming attractions, but it's from a very high place of the soul. It's just giving you a few moments for that. So we're in the 9 days. We're right smack in the middle. Shabbat Chazon is always right in the middle of the 9 days. End of all suffering, happiness, justice, freedom, unconditional love. It's great. Everybody, please, keep your visions. Let's bring down the visions. Keep your visions coming. Post them on the thread, whether live or afterwards, whether you're watching this at any point. So these 9 days are the 9 days of the year that most carry the potential for the transformation of darkness to light. I'm going to share a secret from the Zohar about that very soon, about how that works and why it works. I want to say that there are portals. The world is created as an illusion in order to allow us to exist. It's an illusion of separateness. In other words, the very nature of the world, all worlds, but especially this physical world, its core nature. The word world, olam in Hebrew, coming from the word halem, which means concealment. The nature of the world is that it's hiding God. You cannot see God in this world without tremendous effort and transformation of the concealment. That's what we're here for, darkness to light. So in order to allow us to exist and in order for the purpose of the divine vision to be fulfilled, there had to be this tremendous concealment, but it's time to start to break through. And that's what our vision begins to allow us to do. It pulls us forward into the truth, into the deeper reality, which is waiting to be revealed. One of the many things that the Rebbe said about how this works, he many, many times said that we are in the last generation of Galus, of exile, and the first generation of Geula, of redemption, which means that we have both realities present right now. And he even explained that the word for exile, Galus, in Aramaic is Gola, which is made up of the Hebrew words Gimel, Vav, Lamed, Hey. Gimel, Vav, Lamed, Hey. You'll get this whether you speak Hebrew or not, or read Hebrew or not. Geula is made up of those 4 letters, Gimel, Vav, Lamed, Hey, plus one additional letter, Aleph. When you insert the Aleph, which Aleph is the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet, and it means one, and it stands for the master of the universe, the chief, the one. It stands for the learning the divine plan, and it stands for the revelation, Pella, the revelation. I'm not going to spend the whole, maybe I'll do another live on this, but it's at the Aleph exists at all three levels, and the third level being the revelation of the wonders of the hidden secrets of creation. So when we reveal, when we look for, when we find on various levels the divine purpose and the divine vision inside of the challenges, it transmutes exile to redemption, darkness to light. But here's the next thing. I've mentioned this concept before, and last night I did a 2-hour class on it for my private students in the school for spiritual transformation, for spiritual empowerment. This concept is called Davar V'hipucho, and what it means is that everything that exists in creation, I want you to take this on a deep level. Every single thing that exists, whether it's an emotion, whether it's an object, whether it's a spiritual realm, it doesn't matter, whatever it is, the drum behind me, the computer in front of me, everything that exists is made up of what it is and what it isn't. Two sides of the coin, like light, dark. It's not light and darkness. It's not just that the contrast, but actually the light and darkness, those opposites literally are created as one thing. In the highest realm, they are one thing, not two, but they come down in two lines, two polar opposites, for a reason that I will explain. The Zohar talks about this. So the only way that we can exist, that concealment that allows us to exist, and yet move through the world of separateness and darkness back into oneness and still exist, because that's our destiny. We're meant to exist in bodies, upgraded bodies, definitely, bodies that reveal the soul and that are not don't have planned obsolescence, that live forever. But that's the end goal, is that you will be you, and you will be transparent to your source in infinite ways. So that's a little bit of a stretch for our minds right now, but we're moving in that direction already. So the Zohar says, in explaining this concept of davar v'hipucho, something and its opposite being one thing, the nature of creation, is that it starts by the Mittler Rebbe, the second Lubavitcher Rebbe, explains it by quoting the Zohar, which says that crying is implanted in my heart on one side, and pleasure, happiness, enjoyment on the other. And he goes on to explain that because we are in this world to connect, not just in awareness, but in actual, experiential, intimate, inescapable reality with God, with the fact that everything here is actually God hiding, because we're meant to reveal that in a way that is clearer than the nose on my face or the palm in front of your face. That's what we're meant to do. So he explains that in order to accomplish this, we have to take those polar lines, good and bad, light, dark, whatever, revealed, not revealed, life, death, all of the sadness, happiness, crying, pleasure, and we have to be able to bring them into a state of oneness by moving back and forth between the thing and its opposite. So just bringing this down, if you have something that is so disturbing you, when I do work with people in my Walls and Doorways programs, I used to do those programs standalone. Now they're part of the school. But when I did vision work with people, when I do vision work with people, we always start with what bothers you. Not like a vision out of nowhere, but what's the darkness in your life? What's frustrating you? What's getting in your way? What really makes you sad? What makes you feel disempowered? What is it that you long to change? Because, and even before I really knew this concept, it was obvious somehow that if you can go into the thing that bothers you deeply enough, you come to the other side. So the way out of, you come to what you truly desire. Because what would be the case, and let me ask you this, what really bothers you? And feel free to post that on the thread also. What really bothers you? I guarantee you it's something that bothers other people too. What hurts you? This world, in its exile phase, in its exile pole, is full of suffering. It's full of pain. It's created that way. But we want to know, not just that the pain is here to teach us a lesson, or that it's here for contrast so we can experience pleasure. It's much deeper than that. It's all God. and in the pain, pleasure, polarity, in the frustration, triumph, polarity, in the darkness, light, polarity. That's where we find the essence of God and the essence of ourselves. So how does it work? You want to be so deep into what hurts you and so connected to God in it and so connected to your desire, so connected to your core emotions, the ones that keep you separate, that you go straight to the bottom of them. You fall through the negativity, through the darkness until you come to the light. This is a practice and a technique, but it's one that's so important to master. When you go deeply into fear or sadness, and with a consciousness of self-acceptance, a kind of neutrality, compassion for yourself, compassion for the world, compassion for the emotion, knowing that somewhere in there, at least allowing for that somewhere in there is a redemption, is a light that you cannot see. Don't try to suppress it. We're in a stage where it used to be important to suppress our emotions. Now we're in a different stage. I'm saying according to Torah, according to Kabbalah. Now we're in the stage where what's up for us is transformation, to transmute the emotions, because now we have enough clarity, enough divinity, enough space, enough consciousness to go into the core and not have it, not like die in there, not have it defeated, not have it defeat us. So you need a space of consciousness. You need to understand that there's God in there, and that there's a purpose in there, and that there's light in there, and that there's not just light like, again, not just light like, well, I just have to believe it, but light that if you go deep enough into it with God, knowing that it's revealing the divine purpose, revealing a deeper level of your own inner self, the light will come out and manifest as a change in the situation on the ground. So let me see, I wrote a few notes so that I will not forget anything. Yeah, okay, so there is one more point. And also people are asking me about my daughter, so I'll share that at the end. So obviously this is a very deep secret. For now, what I want to invite you to do is just to understand the idea that life is a polarity, not as two opposites, that we have to change the negative in order to get the positive, or we have to, use the negative to bounce us out into the positive, but rather it's a deepening, it's a going in, it's a digging, it's a falling through the one polarity to find the opposite polarity. And the truth is that until we are face to face, as it says, eye to eye, the prophecy is that we will gaze eye to eye with our beloved Creator. Eye to eye, consciousness to consciousness. But until that point, which could be coming at any time, we just have to do the final rectifications. Until that point, whatever we see, we want to search for the God and the good in it. It's in it. If you go deep enough, you will find it. It's in the deep depths, as it says in Psalms, that a person who doesn't go all the way into the secrets of the darkness, into any inner emotions or any inner traumas or beliefs that separate him from seeking God. That's part of the process. Obviously, this is all in a nutshell. If you want more, if you want actual hands-on training and practice, then consider joining the Gate of Unity School for Spiritual Empowerment, www.gateofunity.com/school. But in any case, that you can take this away, and you can practice it starting now in Shabbat Chazon, in the time of vision, the very core nature of Tisha B'Av, the end of the 9 days, and the 9 days themselves, in this whole 3-week period of mourning for the destruction of the first temple and the second temple. Inside of that is an indestructible future temple. But we need to go through the lessons. We need to go through the darkness, through the flaws, through the separation, through the fears, through the traumas that keep us separate from the truth. And the truth is, Ein Od Milvado. There's nothing here but the one. So here's what I want to say also, and I probably have to do this in a future live stream, but I want to touch on it now. There is light and consciousness all around you and also within you. But on a personal level, your identity, which is the stories that you have about yourself, the beliefs you have about yourself, the narrative that you live into, your identity, which creates your personality, which governs your personality, and what you expect in life and what you perceive when it comes your way. what you attract through your neural wiring and whatever other ways we have to attract things. Your identity is not your real self, but it's a platform for the progressive expression of your real self. Some people in life get smaller and smaller, more and more shut down. I hope you're not one of those. If you're if you're listening to this live stream, I'm assuming you're not one of those. Things that are painful contract us, but the point is, again, to go into the darkness, knowing that if we can reveal the godly potential, the vision, that darkness literally will turn into light. Literally, we will find the power to co-create miracles and revealed good, because we're the last generation of exile and the first of redemption. So the identity is not your true self. It's simply the platform, the playing field through which consciousness, and in your relationship with God and the universe, expresses itself. It's like a filter between everything that you are and everything that's possible for you and everything that God wants to give you. If your identity, let's think about it this way. There are people who don't love themselves. Their identity is that they're unlovable. Maybe that's part of your identity. I don't know. We all have some major thing or more than one, and that's a pretty common one. It doesn't matter in that case how much someone actually loves you. The love will not get through. How come? Because your identity is in the way. Your identity doesn't allow for it. If God is wanting to give us incredible blessings, miracles, unconditional love, transformation, revealed good, a rebuilt temple, a world of heaven on earth, and we have an identity that says God is judgmental and I have to be scared of him and he doesn't love me anyway, I'm not loved, whatever it is, that's going to keep that desire, that divine desire, from coming through. Here's another secret. When it comes to the transmission between giver and receiver, including God and man, the main actor is not the giver. The main actor is the receiver. The receiver has to yearn and open to receive. And that's the only thing that allows a transmission to get through. You're in a closed gate or an open gate. Far better to be an open gate. Have a vision and do the work. So your identity, I want to suggest, and we'll just take a few moments and then I'll give an update on my daughter's situation. I want to invite you to look at your vision and to look at your identity. You can spend more time with this after the live stream is over, but just get started now. Look at your vision. What is it that you really want for yourself, in your relationships, for your family, for the world, for your community, for whatever you're here to contribute? What is it that you really desire? And what is it about your identity, your sense of what's possible or not, your sense of what you deserve or not, your story of the future based on the past? What is it about that that's not in alignment with what you truly desire? Just take a few moments and think about this. And then on the other side, if that wasn't the case, if all of the constrictions of your current identity, davar v'hipucho, contain within them, as the other polar opposite that makes up their oneness, the oneness of your identity. If the flip side of that is the opposite, all of those things that are in the way is the opposite, what would those things be? The opposite of fear, the opposite of uncertainty or needing to be certain. I mean, uncertainty actually goes with the territory of creating a future that doesn't equal the past. But the need to be certain, the belief that if you're not sure, that you can't succeed, that you're supposed to be sure, there are all kinds of false beliefs. What's on the other side of those that is one with them cosmically? How can you reveal the olive, the godliness, the divine purpose in all of those things? And I want to invite you to spend a little time with these questions before Shabbat Chazon. Create your own Geula vision, your own vision of the future on whatever level you desire. Whether you want to be an influencer to thousands or whether you want to just influence your own self. It's the same idea. It's the same transformation that needs to take place. So look at your vision. What's in the way in terms of your identity as this filter between consciousness, divinity, potential, and experience? And then look for what's the opposite that is part of it. Okay, there's a lot more to say about this, but for another time, I don't want to keep this too long. So the update on my daughter Chaimushka is, first of all, everyone in my family is deeply grateful for the prayers, for the good deeds, for the positive visioning, for the emotional and spiritual support, and every other kind of support that people are giving. Her physical recovery is actually, I mean, she's still in a lot of pain. She's having a procedure right now, I think, but it's kind of astounding, and maybe even looking to me kind of supernatural, because she was really iffy whether she would make it at all. There is obviously deep emotional disturbance and fallout from this, and she can't be in the sun, for at least a year. That means she probably has to move out of Florida. She's not there anyway right now. There's all kinds of other components of readjusting after a life and death experience, and still the physical healing to come, and the clarity on making the right decisions. And it's been a little bit stressful, to say the least, for not only her but for the family. So again, I want to say thank you to everybody for all of the support, and please keep the prayers coming. They're so necessary. What makes me feel comforted, and I guess trusting when I have a moment of a darkness, whatever that consists of, is the fact that there's so much light coming down on her behalf and on all of our behalf. And I just want to give everybody a blessing here. The other thing about the 9 days in this whole period is that we're taught that the temple, the second temple, was destroyed because of baseless hatred, just hatred, just because somebody's in your way, somebody else's success makes you feel small, whatever it is, that's called baseless hatred. Nobody did anything to you, you just hate them or resent them, or there are different flavors of this. And we're taught that the temple will be rebuilt, the third temple, which will be totally supernatural and yet physical, just like you will be and just like I will be. We're each a mini temple. We're meant to reveal that here, and that reveals the general temple that will bring peace to the world and a world of heaven on earth. But it will be part of that. But this reaching out for help in this dire situation and having so much response from people that I know and people that I don't know, or people that I used to know a long time ago and never kept up with, all kinds of people, that tells me that something core is being activated through this darkness situation that is healing the world. And I just want to give everybody a blessing that healing, that blessing, will come right back at you, double and redouble, to heal anything in your life, in your body, in your spirit, in your relationships, in your loved ones, in your community, in your country, in any aspect of our universe. We're all in this together, and what's happening in my world shows me that that's a truth, not just a concept, not just a pithy saying, but people are stepping up and making it real on the ground. Wow. Wow. Okay, so I want to leave it with the wow. Wishing everybody Shabbat Shalom. If you're a Jewish woman, I encourage you to light the candles before Shabbat. You can look that up, Shabbat candle lighting, to find out the blessing if you don't know it. Every candle that's lit in that way, it's one of the most powerful mitzvot, divine commandments, or portals to infinity, to reveal the infinite oneness in the world. That's another methodology that is super naturally supercharged. It brings down every mitzvah that's done. It brings down a light, reveals a light, changes the nature of nature, and makes nature a vessel for divine light that's from above the created universe. So that's pretty powerful. And charity is always wonderful, no matter who you're giving it to. It saves the world from death, and it brings Geula faster. And I'll leave it at that. Okay, Shabbat Shalom, everybody. So much love.